Good morning, students. Welcome to the class. We are discussing rearrangement reactions. Yesterday, we have started Hoffmann-Curtius Lawson rearrangements. All these rearrangements involve in the formation of an isocyanate. How this isocyanate can be explored? This isocyanate can be converted to an amine by treatment with water. When we add water, oxygen will add to carbonyl carbon because it is electropositive. Then carbonyl bond is the first one to break. Then again it will reform. Then this nitrogen carbon double bond will polarize towards nitrogen. So after proton loss from water and proton addition on nitrogen, we are generating this carbonyl. One side it is having OH, other side it is having N. If it is CO3, what we call it as a carbonate. This is called as carbamate. This is called as carbamate. Carbamate is unstable. Immediately it undergoes decarboxylation. Immediately it undergoes decarboxylation. Immediately it undergoes decarboxylation. So it generates amine. It generates amine plus carbon dioxide. So isocyanates, when they are treated with water, first they generate carbamate, which will subsequently undergo decarboxylation to generate the amine. So the product in Hoffmann, Curtius and Lawson rearrangements is the amine. Now we will look at some examples for these reactions. So we will go one by one. First we will see some examples for Hoffmann rearrangement. What is Hoffmann rearrangement? Conversion of amides to amines by treating with sodium hydroxide, bromine, and finally we add water. Right. This bond is actually rigid bond. This is actually rigid bond because it is at the bicyclic bridge system. Okay. Generally, it will not involve in reactions. In reactions such as rearrangements. Okay. But still, in this case, we can do Hoffmann rearrangement. But the problem is it is little bit slow. So the reaction is little bit slow because the rigid bond will not involve that easily in rearrangements. So the reaction is little bit slow. We can use variety of reagents such as NaOH plus Br2 or KOH plus Br2 or NaOBr sodium hypobromite, KOBr potassium hypobromite, potassium hypobromite, NBS, N-bromosuccinimide. We can also use chlorine variations, sodium hypochlorite, potassium hypochlorite, NCS, N-chlorosuccinimide. In this case, we cannot use chlorine because chlorine is a gas, bromine is a liquid, whereas chlorine is a gas, so we cannot use the NaOH plus Cl2. Okay, but yeah, we can use these reagents for Hoffman rearrangement. So I'll give you some more examples. When urea is treated under similar conditions, what is the product? When this molecule is treated with excess NaOH and Br2 excess amounts, what is the product? When we treat urea under Hoffman conditions, hydrogen is the product. In this case, benjamide will be converted to amine. Benjamide is converted to amine, fine. But we are having an isopropyl alcohol type. So this moiety can easily undergo iodoform reaction. So in this case, it is bromoform. Ethanol, acetone, isopropyl alcohol. So these type of functional groups like CH3, C double bond O or C single bond O, these functional groups will always involve in iodoform reactions. So here, that is why we are using excess amount of NaOH, so that generates carboxylic acid this side. This carbon will be converted as bromoform CHBr3, and this carbon is converted as carboxylic acid. These are the different reagents used for Hoffman rearrangement, and because it is a rigid molecule, the reaction is slow. A similar example is when we have OH along with amide and a benzene ring, then under similar conditions, what will happen? Of course, amide will be converted to amine. There is no problem. But the presence of more electron releasing group will facilitate aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions. So bromine will undergo aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. So that is why we are getting two times alpha bromination. When succinimide is treated under Hoffman conditions, the product is, this side we have carboxylic acid and this side we have amine, but one carbon less. Okay? Why it is happening? Under basic conditions, this succinimide will undergo hydrolysis to generate carboxylic acid and amide. Under basic conditions, succinimide undergoes hydrolysis to generate carboxylic acid and amide. Amide will involve in Hofmann rearrangement that will be converted to amine, but carboxylic acid will be there. When we do Hofmann rearrangement on this amide, what we are getting? We are getting an amine here, but see, we have a carboxylic acid in the molecule. When we have a carboxylic acid in the molecule, amine and carboxylic acid, they will easily undergo amide bond formation. So there will be a bond formation between this nitrogen and this carboxylic acid. So we are generating a bicyclic system. This is the amine which we are generating, and this is the carboxylic acid. So this is what the product is. Here it may not be possible because it may lead to 4-membered ring. So that is why amide formation may not be possible here. But here, yeah, it is generating a 6-member, or if you consider this bridge system, it forms a 5-member. So amide bond formation is easy here. Of course, we know amide bond formation is the simplest bond formation. You know, most of the proteins or enzymes in our body, nucleic acids, they are all made up of amide bond formation. So it is very, very easy. What we need to do is you just mix a carboxylic acid and amine so that we will generate an amide bond. So in Hofmann reaction, what we are doing, we are converting an amide into an amine with sodium hydroxide with some reagents, NBS, bromine reagent, base, and water. But instead of water, if we use an alcohol, what is the product? When we use water, what we are getting? In a Hofmann rearrangement, we are getting carbamate. Carbamate is undergoing decarboxylation. But in this case, when we use an alcohol, so that generates a stable carbamate that will not undergo decarboxylation. So this is stable. This will not undergo further decarboxylation to generate the amine. So here we are getting a stable carbamate. When this amide is treated with lead tetraacetate and pyridine, it is generating a cyclic carbamate. It is also, the product is also forming through isocyanate intermediate, so that is why I have listed here. When we treat amide with the lead tetraacetate, it generates a nitrene. It generates a nitrene. We have a lone pair initially, and when the two hydrogens, one will be removed as H minus, another will be removed as H plus. So it generates a carbene type nitrene. This will undergo isocyanate formation. This nitrogen, a lone pair of nitrogen is polarized towards carbonyl. then this alkyl group will migrate here. So we are generating isocyanate. This isocyanate is converted to cyclic carbamate. So oxygen will attack on carbonyl carbon. Then C double bond O is the first bond to polarize. Then again it will form. Then this carbon double bond, nitrogen double bond will be polarized nitrogen. After rearrangement of H from hydrogen to nitrogen, we will get this cyclic carbamate. You look at this example, when we have a triple bond next to amide and under Hoffman conditions, what we get an amine, right? But this is not stable. This will immediately convert it to nitrile. This is immediately converted to nitrile. So instead of this propargylamine, sorry, it is estylenic amine, this is more stable. So estylenic amine is immediately converted to nitrile. Now we will see some examples for Curtius rearrangement. What is Curtius rearrangement? Conversion of an acid azide to amine is called Curtius rearrangement. Acid azides are generated from carboxylic acids. This is chloroethyl formate. When it is treated with carboxylic acid, oxygen will attack on carbonyl, Cl will be leaving, then Cl will come and attack on this carbonyl, so that this entire group will be leaving. So in this process, what we are doing, we are converting carboxylic acid to acid chloride. Then we treat this with sodium azide, so carboxylic acid chloride will be converted to azide. Then we convert that azide either under thermal conditions or photochemical conditions to amine. So this is Curtius rearrangement. We can also convert carboxylic acid to acid chlorides by thionyl chloride under basic conditions, then sodium azide treatment, and then photochemical conditions convert this acid azide to amine. We can also use sodium iodide and then sodium azide in case of in place of thionyl chloride and sodium azide for converting carboxylic acid to azides. We can also use these two reagents. These reactions are two-step reactions. Generally, in the first step, we convert acid carboxylic acid to acid chloride. Then in the second step, we convert that acid carboxylic acid chloride to azide. But the same two-step process, conversion of carboxylic acid to azide, can be done in a single step using this reagent. Using this reagent, in a single step, we convert carboxylic acid to azide. This is called diphenhoxyphosphoryl azide. Please take the notes. diphenoxyphosphoryl azide. So in a single step, when we treat this diphenoxyphosphoryl azide with a carboxylic acid, in a single step it will convert carboxylic acid to azide. Then that azide under thermal condition will be converted to isocyanate, and when we use water, it will be converted to amine.